Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the League of Inches podcast, our Parra episode 3. So keen to get into this rip and tear. There is plenty to discuss. Myself and Jake along for this one. I got my partner in crime back once again. It felt naked doing the review last night by myself. Goodness me! Thanks to those that have watched it and helped me get through that one. That was a struggle, but. We are here to celebrate a great win. Jake had no voice yesterday and finally, I believe, has got his voice back tonight.
It's back.
Just in time to do a back-to-back potty, which is awesome to see. But Jake, tell us, first of all, how was it? How was the day? How was the night? Your experience.
Yeah, well, so I went to the game. That's why I wasn't able to do the review show. It was an awesome time. I went there with a bunch of Tigers fans, and they were telling me the whole time, how they were going to rub it in my faces when they won and stuff like that. So it was really good afterwards, especially to get back at them. But no, it was a really awesome time. The atmosphere was very interesting because it was a Tigers home game. I kind of felt like there was more Tigers there, and because they were kind of getting that help from the announcer, it kind of felt a little bit sort of strange. But in terms of as soon as we scored, as soon as Parra scored, I didn't anything good. Man, the whole crowd. The whole crowd revved, and it was awesome. You might hear a few cracks in there today.
got him going. It seems like the Tigers fans and players like to have a bit of a chat. That seems like a flow-on effect at the moment for that club, funnily enough, but got him nowhere in the end. Now, we're going to rip in. There's so much to talk about purely from the win alone. There is a lot to discuss. But first of all, I just want to address something. Obviously, on this podcast, we've always said, whether it's our Parra or whatever we are doing, we will always be upfront and honest and give you our opinions, whether they're right or wrong. And if they're strong opinions, that's what we'll do. We'll never shy away from that. I just want to let everyone know for a second that obviously being a Parra fan, both of us, I'll speak for myself especially because I'm the one mainly copying it. Comments like from what I said last week about Moses and being delusional, thinking he'll change his team single-handedly, things like that. They were my comments. I'll back them up. I'll stand by what I said. If you listen to the podcast last week, you'll also realize what I said, not just off that post that I put up. There was more to it. The forwards needed to aim up, and finally they did. They let a huge platform for Moses to play off. We'll dissect everything a lot more in this podcast, but I just want to let everyone know that we're on here discussing what we think, okay? So have your say, have your cracks. It's all well and good, but just remember that we love this club more than anything, okay? So if we are being harsh at certain times, it's justified in my opinion. Look at the start we've had going off before last night's game and how things were, conceding 50 points twice already inside 6 weeks. Defense was horrible. Now, and we'll talk about a bit more, but if that means we're a one-player team now, that does get me a little bit. I'm going to be honest. I love Mitchell Moses for sure, but how much we changed so much with one player gets to me, and that's just me being honest. But I'll stand by what I said. It wasn't everything from the screen grab. I should have included a little bit more. I did talk about the forwards and that as well. They finally aimed up. We'll talk about them shortly, but just want to let you all know there is that I'll put myself on the line. Jake does as well. Everyone else on the podcast does as well. And look, we're not going to get everything right. We're up here putting our kahunas on the line. Instead of just having your cheap jives, why don't you put your predictions in beforehand and see how you go for that week coming up? So, but let's rip into it. Let's discuss this win, Jake, because it was a fantastic win. As you said, it was at home in a way, our home ground, but it was technically away. And the scoreline, 38 points to 22. Basically, the Tigers only looked good whenever we had the players sin bin. I'm going to add that. So, really, we beat them almost comprehensively. It could have been easily like a 38-10 scoreline in the end, and that's an absolute smashing. Let's quickly dissect the refereeing, okay? Because I know there's a number of Tigers fans in a lot of chats we're in general comments and things like that as well, who have sort of been basically saying it was one way. Now, I don't know what they've watched or anything like that, but I feel like there were some pretty dodgy decisions both ways. And let me start by saying this. I'm going to start off by saying I actually think off the kickoff, the Offa Hengawi tackle, not Offa, he's in my head at the moment. He's in my head. Kelma Tuolangi's tackle on May should have been a sin bin. I'm not going to shy away. It was direct shoulder contact to the head, and I would have been okay if that was sin bin. Now, it was missed. A number have been missed over the last week or two that we've been voicious about. I'll let you start from there, Jake, and I'll let you keep going from that. But like I was saying, I don't think the officiating has been poor from just Eels. It's been from both.
The officiating, as we have talked about in multiple podcasts across Eels and Els, the officiating is as inconsistent as it has always been, right? It's been inconsistent this entire year. Yeah, okay, the refereeing maybe was slightly askew to the the Tigers side, okay? Maybe slightly through the game, okay? They still got some calls, to be honest with you, that I didn't agree with, and we got some calls that, to be honest with you, I thought maybe went our way on a 50-50, right? So I'm going to say I reckon it was skewed probably on our side a little favorably. At the same time, I think that what's his name? Luca Moretti shouldn't have been sent Luca Moretti should have been sent for Taruva throwing one of our players off. I don't think that Iongi's sin bin was a sin bin, to be completely honest with you. So I think two of our sin bins that were sin bins shouldn't have been. So to be honest,
and
you
Moses
actually won.
Probably was.
Moses probably was. So look, to be honest with you, I think it was probably just poor refereeing, maybe around the grounds. I don't think if Tigers fans are coming out and saying that's what lost or won them the game, they're wrong. Okay, the Calvin Tuolangi hip drop one. All right. Look, to be honest with you, he did land on his ankle. If you watch the replay, the guy landed on his ankle. And to be honest with you, I've talked about hip drops before. That's it's not a technical hip drop. It's true, but he did like land the way he's kind of come in from behind him and pulled his back over his own legs. Kind of almost felt like a hip drop at the same time.
We've seen him sin bin before. He easily could have been.
We've seen those ones go. And I definitely think that, to be honest with you, it was easily a penalty. I don't think it should have been a sin bin in that one, in that case. But I was sitting there at the day. I remember going, he could go here. Like I was sitting there thinking he could go. So people saying it's not a penalty, that's wrong. That's absolutely a penalty every day of the week. But yeah, for the Tigers fans that are saying that, we only won that game because of the refs, you're absolutely wrong. We won that because our forwards finally aimed up, and because Mitchell Moses used that on the back of that, and Dylan Brown, to actually put on a bit of a clinic.
100% right.
Yeah.
We'll get into the game, but just one final thing I want to say on the officiating now that we can be biased on here is Moretti one you're 100% spot on for. Like I was sitting there going, what is he actually getting sin bin for? If he is getting a sin bin, then Finu should have been sin bin for doing exactly the same thing. They were both sitting there holding each other. So I'm sick of the referees doing this whole even up, which I always do whenever there's a melee.
Yeah.
Sin bin the one player Taruva who started it, which should have been a sin bin, no worries. But that's where it should have ended in.
Yeah, unless a punch is thrown.
If you were going to go Moretti, you go Finu as well. Like it was just Moretti did nothing but basically hold people, and that was it. Like if that was the case, 10 of them should have been sitting because there was 10 of them holding each other. It was just stupid. The Ongi one, I've had people in a few groups to me say, in super slow-mo, you can tell by 0.1 of a second that I only tackled him just before he touched the ball. If we are refereeing and deciding sin bins on 0.01% of time, it is clearly not a sin bin. And I've not heard once, and I've listened to so many podcasts. I listened to the post game. I listened to the post game on the radio. I listened to NRL 360. I listened to everything. I've not heard one professional yet say that was a sin bin. All of them have said, what the hell was his sin bin for? Because it was an absolute joke and could have been a huge turning point in that game. If it wasn't for Ado Carr's intercept, which is probably one of the best intercepts I've ever seen in the time of the game, he could have easily lost that, and I would have been absolutely filthy on here tonight because that was an absolute joke. And the fact that some people, whether they have their West Tigers glasses on or not, can actually try and justify that sin bin, they've got absolute rocks in their head because that was not a sin bin by any stretch of the imagination. So let's get on and celebrate the game itself and the players. Let's go straight there. Mitchell Moses, wow. Said at the start of the podcast, he can't do everything himself, and he didn't have to because it was a team effort last night. This is what I loved, and I love Moses is the main guy, and he's the one that stands out. That's what should happen as your chief playmaking captain. but he needed others to get it around him to really push him to that. And it was his kicking game, try assist, just everything. Mitchell Moses was absolutely on fire in his first game back for the club in what, 6 months, 8 months? Like, it's been a long time since we've seen him in that blue and gold jersey, unfortunately. And to come back like that, that's a statement.
Oh yeah, look, his statement is, "I want to be here. I want to win games for the club, and I want to, I want us to succeed this year." And you can tell that he does. He was everywhere on that field. He was left, right, like in attack. He was left side. He was right side. It didn't really matter. He just wanted to be touching the ball at all times. And I think you're right. I actually feel a little bit bad for poor Dean Hawkins, because realistically, the forward pack seems to have aimed up because Mitchell Moses is back. But if they had just done that in the first place, Dean Hawkins probably could have had something to play off. But I think even the little ones, like, so the first try for Adokar, right? Like, it feels like Dean Hawkins wouldn't have the confidence to throw that over the top, whereas Moses is going, "No, I know who's out there, and I know what he can do. I'm gonna just throw it." And you know what? If it doesn't come off, we're still in their own area. We're still in their area. We've got field position. Who cares? Do you know what I mean? Like, Moses has that sort of tactical awareness, and I just don't think Dean does. Look, and I hope that he develops that, and I like that he's a depth player. But yeah, Mitch, just everywhere on the field, man. And defense, he wasn't missing tackles. Like, he's such a defensively sound. That's my favorite thing he's improved in as a player, as a halfback. Is that defensive side of things. The big thing for me, I suppose, is I'm a little wary, right? So this happened last year. I don't know if you remember. We had a bit of we had a bit of a poor run, and then Mitchell Moses, the savior, comes back, and we verse the Sharks, and we put them down. We absolutely flogged them. Then the week after that, we versed the Knights, and we had it given to us where we didn't need to we probably should have won that game as well. So I'm going to take, and I love the victory, right? It's awesome, feels incredible. I'm going to take it with a grain of salt.
It does, as I said, it does annoy me in a way to see how much one player, and I just don't feel like it should be like that. Like, if I'm being honest, it doesn't feel right. And you're right. Like, Hawkins didn't do that bad of a job. And to see how the forwards played for him is really disappointing, because that's when they should be, to be honest, probably going that extra bit to make sure they can lay a platform for the reserve grader, essentially, to come in and actually make him feel at home and make his job a bit easier by getting on the front foot. And they didn't do it. For basically the first 6 weeks, they didn't do it. So that was really disappointing. But his halves partner, Dylan Brown, where credit is due. I thought he was absolutely sensational. Obviously outshined by the captain, Mitchell Moses, and rightly so. But I think it was vintage Dylan Brown. It was the Dylan Brown that I've said to many people who reckon drop him, let him go now, blah, blah, blah. I always said wait for Mitchell Moses to return, and we will see the best of Dylan Brown, because that's who he is. He's not an organizer. He can't be the chief. He needs to be the second fiddle who basically gets told what to do on the field, which Moses does, and we will see the best of him. And again, he ran for 201 meters, 14 runs. So he wasn't running for the sake of it. He was doing some really good, well-timed runs, and when he thought there was a chance there,
well, don't forget about the one. Don't forget about the one off Luca Moretti. So off the kickoff, where he's run pretty much the entire length of the field.
Yeah. That was just spur of the moment. Like, it was the Dylan Brown of old, and it's the one that makes you think, what are you thinking? Because this Haas partnership could be anything in the future. Could be anything legit. And it's just been thrown away, unfortunately, which all year we're going to feel like it. That makes me feel a bit down when I think about it, but it was a great game by Dylan Brown.
Oh, yeah. The biggest thing with Dylan, I think, is when the team has any amount of momentum is when he can provide. He can't be that momentum creator, unfortunately, and it sucks to say, but we've learned it over so many attempts at it now, where he can't be that person who gets the game going and gets us started on a roll. As much as we all want him to be able to do that, when our forwards aim up and have a platform and get them on the back foot is when he can create. When you get him that slight bit wider, especially when Dylan Walker came on. When Dylan Walker came on, same idea. Like, you pushing Dylan Brown just that slight bit wider, which allows him to hold up the ball, decide whether he wants to throw it or go, and it makes the defense sit there and go, "Oh, what do I do? Like, do I go for him? Do I not?" It's indecisiveness that he creates by being such a good by being first of all, such a fast runner, and second of all, he just accelerates real quick up to the line, so it makes them have to think, but also think quickly. I thought he had an awesome game defensively as well. One of his biggest things, and it's been lacking tiny bit recently, is defense. I think he was defensively very strong, but again, that's the same idea of he had confidence on his inside men, and he could defend like that. So now what I'm begging, because I'm going to be there, I'm going to be at Magic Round. I am begging for him specifically, and everyone, but him to back it up. Please give us a repeat showing. It doesn't happen very often. It's been a very rare case where you see 2 in a row. Let's go again.
Yeah, just a quick one out there as well. If you are a Parra fan, you're going to Magic Round, you're staying the night, maybe you're going to the whole event. If you want to come to our event, come and meet us, come and meet the crew, come and have a drink, have a bit of a chat on the Saturday, 11 to 2 at the Velveteen Rabbit. Message the page. I'll message the page, the code word Magic Round, put you on the list. You can come and meet us, have a chat. It's basically just going to be a chin wag, come and meet us all, get a few drinks, talk some footy. No live podcast, nothing like that. Just more of we want to say hello to everyone. Thank you for following us. Thank you for all the support. And be just a really good few hours, really keen before the cracking Saturday fixtures. The bench. I want to give the bench a huge rap here because I thought they were the best we've had so far. I'd almost go as far as saying for the last year or two. The bench was phenomenal. The impact that they had. You're the stats man. I'm not going to go into the stats, but Dylan Walker, Luke Moretti. It's hard to do Matt Dury because he was off with the HIA. Unfortunately, only played 6 minutes. But then Sam Tuivasa, they were all absolutely sensational. All played their role perfectly. You could just see already the Dylan Walker influence he'll have on Moses and Brown this year. And then in the future, we'll talk about it. Perhaps it's Lockie Galvin as well. I'm so excited. He helps this out so much more. And it's what I've been screaming out for that Hopgood needs. He needs this guy to be the ball player, and Hopgood can focus on going up and down the field. And when it suits and when it's right, to use his ball playing that he can do. The bench was insane.
Oh, the bench needs probably the biggest props of the biggest props. It needs the biggest shout out of the entire. You like that one? The entire game. Biggest thing that they did was not only did they run the amount of meters they did. So I'll give you the quick stats because you asked for it. So Dylan Walker, 13 runs for 113 meters. Luke Moretti, 13 runs for 116 meters, and Tuivasa, 12 runs for 114 meters. So all sitting around the same meterage. Tuivasa did it in one less run. But the important thing that I haven't mentioned yet is how much time they played. Dylan Walker did that in 40 minutes, so he played a full half. Luke Moretti did that in 32 minutes of football. He played 32 minutes of football and ran 13 times for 116 meters. That is insane. And Tuivasa played for 33 minutes, so he only played 1 minute more than Moretti. Oh my God. Oh my God. To take that amount of runs in that brief of a time and do that much damage, Jack Bird is going to be checking under his bed for Sam Tuivasa for weeks. No, I'm really happy that Luca is being rewarded with more time. I really am, because he's obviously come off that injury, and even that first game he came back, he only played about 15 minutes and he ran for more meters than the forwards we had going at the time. And then last week, I think it was, he came on and played almost 40 minutes, around about that, and he was our best forward again. He was, honestly. And then same this week, probably I'd actually have to say he's probably, in my opinion, he was our best forward on the park, Luke Moretti. He was incredible. And I'm really liking seeing where he's sort of going with that. And Tuivasa, I can't wait to see how he develops. I'm so excited to see how he develops.
Here's the big reason why, and we'll talk about it shortly. Joe Offengawi, I feel like, has gone. It's very, very clear that he is the future now to Avadi and needs to be the future. So,
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I fully agree with that. I think that Sam Tuivasa is Junior 2.0. I know people don't like to, draw comparisons and stuff like that, but I'm going to draw a comparison. When Junior was at his most damaging, and I'll get to him in a second, when Junior was at his most damaging, okay, he is reminding me exactly of how Sam Tuivasa is playing right now. Just a big dude who just gives it everything he's got in his runs And it's all he needs. He only needs a 30-minute stint. He doesn't need to play the entire game, but what he needs to do is strike fear into the hearts of his opponents. And that's what he did to Jack Bird. He literally scared him into going off the field. We scored 3 tries. And sorry, I'm just going to quickly mention this. Who's the brilliant strategist that thought, hey, Tuivasa-Vai's absolutely run over our line off the first 2 kickoffs. Let's do it. Let's kick it to him again. Anyway, it's not for me to decide, but I'm just going to mention that I was sitting there and they kept kicking back to them off the kickoff, and I'm like, why do you want the biggest guy we have to run at you? What's the meaning of this? Anyway,
it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
And also, when you see the big man dummy half at the line, you tackle him. You don't go for someone's headgear. You actually focus on the big 120-odd kilo prop that's picking up the ball that's more than likely going to crash over and attempt to crash over.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%.
I want to go my final shout out, Isaiah Iongi, who I thought had that's 2 games in a row at Combank where he's been electric. I said to so many people, I'll go wait till Mitchell Moses gets back into this team to see what Iongi can really do. Like, he's been good so far, held his own, but I just saw he went to another level. He was everywhere. He was so busy. Again, felt for him for the sin bin, which I didn't think was a sin bin, but his game overall, he was everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, mate. It's just all right. I'm gonna agree with you on what you said. I'm gonna take it on a little tangent real quick. So, there's heaps of people in comments on Facebook and things like that I've been seeing it everywhere, where they're all saying Brad Arthur 2.0. Riles is taking us in the wrong direction. We're playing like crap. Just please understand that it is short-term pain for hopefully, and obviously we can't predict what's going to happen, but hopefully for long-term game. He is blooding juniors. He is getting people ready for what he wants to come, right? He has people he has to get rid of and all that, right? Iongi is coming in. He is coming in off being a junior. This kid is going places. This is his, 7th game in NRL, and he's already shown what he has got. Because why? Riles had faith in him. He gave him a few cracks, and he's going to continue to do that. He's probably going to have 5 more bad games, or actually, I hope not. He might have 3 more mediocre games before another, excellent one, and that's okay because his floor is going to start rising to meet where his ceiling is, and his it's not going to be long before his worst games are sitting at an 8 out of 10. That's what we want to be looking for, and I honestly think that this kid is going to be so incredible. And he is seriously, I know we talked about Josh Papali before the season. He is seriously just fending him off. He's just going, nah, I don't care how well you're playing. I'm going to play better.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. Any more shout-outs you want to do, or we're going to move on?
Yeah, I had one, and I don't think we haven't mentioned him enough. Mr. Bailey Simonson. Yeah. How good's he been since he's come back, man? Off an ACL injury, and he's looked almost our best player both weeks in a row. Like, he's so passionate. I remember when we first got him over at the Eels, and I kind of went like, he kept making mistakes. He didn't do much right. He kind of kept running sideways and stuff like that. He's really straightened up. He's gotten a bit bigger. He's just busting the line a lot more, busting tackles. I'm so happy, and I cannot wait. Till Lomax is on that right wing. He shifts into that left center. And all four of our, well, including Wyoming, all 5 of our backline are just going to be so exciting.
It's enough to make a grown man cry in a way of excitement. It's
enough to make a grown Parramatta Eels fan cry. That's for sure.
Oh, it's the prospect of that is very, very exciting. All right, the Lockie Galvin rumors are heating up. Obviously, clubs are pulling out left, right, and center. Apparently, Parramatta appear to be almost now $1 favourites to sign Lockie Galvin. It's probably a matter of when, not if, in terms of when we get him. Not if we get him, but when, if it's this year, if it's next year, things like that. Obviously, from last week, anything, how are you feeling now? You've seen a lot of things that have happened. His camp has acted. You've seen how others have acted. What is your thinking around the Lockie Galvin potential or likely signing now?
Like whether I want him or or what's been happening? Yeah. Oh, look, I still want him. Look, we're not going to have Dylan Brown. We're going to need a 5'8", and Lachlan Galvin is as up and coming as it gets. He wants to, he used to be at the club, or he wants to be. He seems like he wants to be at the club. And you know what? I actually think that it hasn't helped his market value. The fact that no one else sort of seems to want him other than the Bulldogs, and they've sort of withdrawn from the race. Or apparently withdrawn from the race.
Don't trust Gus. Don't trust Gus.
Don't ever trust Gus Goulden. That's true. But I'm almost hopeful that the biggest thing I don't want to see is I don't want to see us throwing $1 million at him either. Like I want to see maybe I want to sign him at 750, 800K maybe. Like that's where I want to sign him. I don't want to be signing him for enough money that it throws our whole, recruitment team and recruitment funds like out of whack for what Riles wants to sort of bring into the club. So yeah, of course I want to sign him. The guy's going to be huge. He's going to be incredible. And next to Moses is perfect. I think that combination just works incredibly. It will work incredibly well. So
I think you've hit the nail on the head. Like in my opinion, and I said this last week, I just find it funny how Parramatta fans last year and stuff were saying, do not deal with Isaac Moses again. As soon as an Isaac Moses player comes on the market called Lockie Galvin, they all want, get Lockie Galvin, blah, blah, blah. Like it's very, very funny how Parramatta fans work. And at times it's almost laughable. Like 6 months ago, you didn't want anything to do with this guy anymore. You go, it's too hard. You're just seeing how this has been drawn out and played out into the media. Word of warning, it's very likely if Lockie Galvin does come to the club and after a couple of years it doesn't really happen or anything like that, or it doesn't work the way it should work, it could happen to us as well. And we're in the media for all the wrong reasons, led by this manager. Like, just be careful what you wish for because it could very much go the wrong way. But it could also go the right way. And Lockie Galvin and Mitchell Moses are absolutely on fire. For me though, I just feel like it's I agree with you. I do agree with you. I want to get him for the right money because we do need to strengthen the props and the second row position, in my opinion, still. And we won't be able to do that unless we have some money because there's a lot of clubs at the moment come November 1 who will be in for the similar sort of players who are going to be up available to purchase players. And we need to be right in the thick of it, signing one or two of these players because without another gun prop and another very good edge back rower, we won't have a chance of doing anything in this competition moving forward, in my opinion. And I know what we've seen on the weekend. That was against a poor Tigers outfit, in my opinion. We can't expect to turn up with this sort of team and beat the Storm, beat the Panthers, beat the Dogs. We need to match them with proper go forward and consistent go forward. And in my opinion, we need to make sure we strengthen those positions. If we sign Galvin for over $1 million, we're going to destroy those plans because then all of a sudden we go, oh crap, we've got to go the rung below and sign players the rung below, which we've already got, which doesn't improve your squad at all. Like it doesn't improve your run on 13. And for mine, all the signings I reckon we make from November 1 or next year or the year before, year after, needs to be with a vision of strengthening that 1 to 13 positions. Because for me, I think our depth is actually pretty decent once you have the proper players playing in the starting positions. So as long as Lockie Galvin doesn't stuff them up and he comes for the right reasons, happy to take him. He's going to be a great, great player. His head needs to be in the game.
Oh, 100%. And when it comes to the signing in those positions, like you said, like how we have a lot of depth, we do, because a lot of the players who you consider a depth player at other clubs are playing in our first grade side. So you'd almost be hoping that they sort of are willing to play, like some of our starters might be willing to play that bench role almost and sort of go from there. But yeah, if Lockie wants to come to the club and if he wants to see success, he needs to not want to take a pay cut. No one wants to take a pay cut. He needs to almost know he's coming into it for less money than what he got offered at the Tigers for mine. He can't come in thinking he's going to get that because it's just going to seriously, all that's going to do is just weaken our team overall and you're just going to be getting the same results you were getting at the Tigers. So you want to be giving the club more money to be able to make those right recruitment options so that you've got these players and you can play incredibly well. And you know what, over time, your contract can go up, of course. But for now, It needs to be what it is. It needs to be good. Yeah.
100%. Whether we get it, I don't know if we can get him this year in terms of we probably can afford him, no doubt, but I just don't know where he fits. Like, you obviously would take him, but it's sort of like just off the like thinking out loud, wasn't pre-warned, but where would you play him? Because I don't know, thinking this year, you'd almost would you put Galvin to 5'8" so that partnership can develop and maybe look at Dylan Brown?
I can tell you exactly what I'd do. All I would do. No, I seriously, I would do locking Galvin into 5'8", and all you're doing is you're shifting Dylan Brown into 14, Dylan Walker into into that sort of bench spot, and you either play Dylan Walker the exact same way you have been, or you bring him on as like a bench sort of prop role kind of thing, or more like that running style role, and play Dylan Brown in the same role Dylan Walker's been doing, where he shifts across and plays that sort of ball playing middle. And you just got three halves on the field, but he could play that. He could defend in the middle. He's got the strength to do it. We know that he could do it. I actually think that would probably work quite well. Then you got three kicking options too. Like if your halfback gets caught up or whatever, there'll be someone in the field to kick.
There was a part of me that sort of felt like I wanted to try Brown or Galvin for the rest of the year to lock and put Hopgood into prop and just have him play prop for the rest of the year, and then have Dylan Walker come on for one of those two to make sure they don't play 80 minutes at lock because they won't be able to, and just have. But I don't mind what you're saying either. Let us know in the comments what you think. If we do get Galvin, where would you play him if it is for this year? What would you do with Dylan Brown as well? Or just let us know if you do want Galvin. You might be out there going no because of the manager or something, or young kid hasn't proven it. Whatever your reasonings are, let us know. Couple of quick ones about the club and what's happened. So obviously Joe Offengawi left the club last week to sign with the Lee Leopards. I think he was given a 2.5 or 3 year deal, basically. Too good for the club to deny him. He was only in the plans for the rest of the year, so you can't hold that against him. In my opinion, it's better. We've already seen how Moretti and Tuivasa have already basically stepped up since that news. We can only go off one performance, but in my opinion, both have shown now, yep, I want that jersey moving forward, which is great. They're the future. Offengawi wasn't. I've been very disappointed with Offa. I know there's so weird. When I read some of the comments on the actual official posts and the club and stuff, how many were against this? And I'm thinking, have you actually been watching Offengawi's performances this year, just to start with, just this year? He's been below par at best. Like, there's been games where he's played 30 or 40 minutes and he's made 3 runs. Like, he's not a prop at all. And in the defensive department, there's been, so if you go back and watch the highlights so far of the year, he's in a fair few where he's gone absolutely haywire. He's just lazy in the middle.
Yeah.
I'm happy to have him gone.
Oh, yeah. Look, for me, I am not mad that he is sort of going, thank you for your service at the club. And you know what? Last year, towards the end of the season, I actually thought Joe was playing some of his best football for us. I actually thought he was actually up there with some of our better props. Not that was a very high. Sorry, not that was a very high bar. But yeah, when I heard he was going, to be honest, I sort of went, sweet. Now we can finally have. It's almost as if Jason Riles has been forced to use the players I've been begging him to put in prop all year anyway. So I'm totally okay with that. Like, I'm not sitting here going, oh, boo hoo. Honestly, I swear sometimes that fans who have been watching the games because we've been losing or whatever it be, they will like see that a player's gone with like a big name. Like Joe Offengawi is a relatively big name. He played for Queensland and things like that. And they'll go, stupid retention decision from the Eels again and stuff like that. Watch the games. Like, and we're going to talk about, I'm sure we'll talk about him at some point soon, but like, watch the games and figure out, like, he hasn't been doing it for us. We've got props who are up and coming who want that spot, who are like hungry for it and will do a better job. And it's not as if, in my opinion, a prop is somebody who needs to be incredibly skillful. Seriously, you need to be able to run the ball hard with vigor and hold onto it and make your tackles. It's not that hard. It's not that complex of a job, okay? And as soon as a prop loses their hunger and doesn't have that viciousness, they're not working anymore.
Yeah. And we've still got Garma to come into this team once he gets his body right as well, who has been disappointing to start the year, granted, but hopefully he puts a little bit more size back on. I feel like he's lost maybe too much weight. it has affected his performance. He's been basically bashed, I think, every time he's got the chance to have a run and things like that, which has probably affected him quite a bit. Hopefully they can. He's, again, another young one coming through. Obviously, there was murmurs at the end of last year he wanted out. Apparently, that's all been fixed up, but hopefully he does stay. And we get to move on with him as well, because that'd be another good addition into the prop sort of rotations as well. Finally, obviously, Sean Lane. We've been, myself especially, have been huge critics of Sean Lane. He's been in the media last week, stepping away from the game basically at the moment in the club. Just not quite there. Obviously, battled some personal things. So I know I haven't been the biggest fan, but that's obviously not something you ever take too lightly at all. But I wish him a lot. I wish him all the best, especially. I do. Just for you, Jakey boy, anything to say for Sean? Hopefully he gets himself right. If he gets to a stage where he wants to come back into the game, perfect. If not, understand it. And thank you for what he has done at the club, because that form around the grand final year was fantastic. Has fallen away, if I'm going to call a spade, but hopefully he gets himself right, which is first and foremost.
Yeah, what I'll say on this is I've given him a lot. I have given him a lot of shit, to be completely honest with you. I'm not going to back away with the things that I've said, because I've been saying them from a viewpoint of a football fan, and that viewpoint comes, playing the game and having the fans, the passionate fans that you do, it comes with that territory. That being said, I want it to be sort of noted that I do hope that Sean Lane, everything that you're going through and everything that he's fighting with and battling with, I hope that he comes through on top. I hope that whatever he decides to do, whether that be coming back to the game or going and doing something else, whether that be what he does, I hope that he's happy. I really do, because it's not as if I dislike the guy. I just, he's given a lot for our club. He's given his body and things like that. And I do hope that he succeeds and that he's happy within himself. With that being said, I don't want to come off across too controversial here, but I'm going to. I'm glad he isn't playing for us anymore this year, because he was losing us football games. And as a fan of the game and what we're here to talk about and wanting to win, I'm glad he's taking the time to get himself sorted. I'll put it that way. And yeah, if he comes back with the right mindset, the thing is with Sean Lane, that's what always frustrated me, is he's such a giant. He's just got like the physique. He's got everything he should have to succeed. So obviously I didn't know what was sort of going on mentally with him. But it always frustrated me that he wasn't dominating the way he should have been. So yeah, I hope he gets his mind right and he comes back to having a bit of a love for the game and goes from there. But yeah, that's all I got to say on him.
I'll let you wear those. Let's get into a couple of questions quickly before we sign off. On Instagram, Blue and Gold Army podcast. If we get Galvin, which is highly likely at this point, in your opinion, do we go for Payne Haas and sign another experienced back rower that gives the forward pack the pace it needs? Well, I'd love Payne Haas, and we basically already said we need an edge back rower as well, but just money. It's all about money. It's about financial needs, what we've got in the bank. Would love the club to go all out and get Payne Haas would be exactly what we need. I reckon, apart from probably maybe the Melbourne Storm, there's every other club will be in the market for Payne Haas, so their offers are going to get crazy. He could become easily not just the highest paid prop, could become the highest paid player in the game after this new contract. That's how much money I reckon clubs are going to throw at him. So it's just about what we want to pay, balance the salary cap, and then, yeah, for sure, get an edge back rower as well.
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't we all love to have a Payne? Yeah, wouldn't we all love to have a Payne Haas in our club? But I don't see that happening. To be completely honest with you, I don't see that happening unless he had some sort of passion to want to come to us, but he doesn't. I don't think he does. So I don't think we're going to get him on any cheaper than what he's worth, and what he's worth is probably almost $1 million at this point.
Got one from Gib.O. Blah, blah, blah. How many years should Galvin be 5'8" for Parra? Jake, how long would you sign him for?
Oh, sign him for? Like, look, the question was how long should he be 5'8"? The question should be how long should he be 5'8" for Parra, as long as he's performing well. But if it's how long I want to see him sign for, I'd go 4 years. 3 or 4 years, I'm happy with. I don't want to see him on 5 years or longer, to be honest with you. I think it's going to lead to trouble down the. Yeah, I think it's going to lead to trouble down the track. I don't know.
Yeah, that's my
I don't know. Yeah, that's where it's tough because that's where the long ones struggle. But yeah, all good.
And Andrew Medgalia, who replaces Kelmer for the next 3 weeks? Could Geimer find his way back in?
I got this one. I honestly would like to see Jack Williams go back onto that second row, and I'd like to shift Luca Moretti. I think he deserves a start for his performances thus far. I'd love to see Luca Moretti start, push Jack Williams out to the second row because he did a good job when he was out there at the start of the season. Even if it's just until Kelmer's back, I wouldn't mind seeing that happen. Or even Tuivasa. You could start Tuivasa as well. You can make a case either way.
Don't mind that at all. Nathan Taylor, 5. If we get Galvin early, is there a way we keep Brown for the remainder of the year and have both? Galvin only on $350K this and next year. I'd imagine we are able to swing that without having to let Brown go early. Yeah, I think we'll probably keep both, but I think there's also a part of me that feels like the club would go, you know what? We're thinking of the future. This is why we're getting Galvin now. They might look at ways to just let Brown go off to Newcastle. But I think we're still going to play Newcastle twice, so you might want to be careful as well at the time around you'd actually let Brown go, because I don't know if you want to have Brown knowing what he could do, costing us 2 wins, 4 competition points. So got to be careful around that one and how we actually navigate that. Just quickly checking the Facebook questions, and it's the exact time where my internet wants to run a bit slowly, which is always the case.
I'll just touch on that one, just while you're looking that up. The way I see it shaking out is the Tigers aren't going to want to give up if they honestly get forced somehow by the RLPA or whatever. They're not going to want to give him up for free, and I think they're looking at kind of like an edge wrecker or something like that. They're probably going to go to the Knights. I feel like the Tigers would approach the Knights and basically go, look, we'll give up Galvin to go to Parra. We're going to need something from you because obviously they'll give you Dylan Brown. Like they all need to get together, I honestly think, and go from there because I think it'll be a bit of a triangle.
Yeah, no, very true. Mark Brown, with Joe and Lane gone and Kelmer facing a 3-week absence, our forward depth has taken a significant hit. Do you think we'll see some new recruits joining the team? Well, 2 of them were gone on the weekend, and it was the best we've played, so I don't think it's a huge loss, to be honest. And then Kelmer, in a game where I think our forward packs were great, I feel like maybe our edges were still sort of missing a little bit. I don't think Katoga played ideally like that great. Kelmer had a decent game, but I think could have been better, and we still won the game. We still had a very good game at that and dominated. So I don't know if it's going to be that big of a deal. Like I said, like we've both said all podcasts, it's the new guys that are coming through, which has everyone so excited. So, and the fact that we've still got, and yes, look, I know that they haven't done much this year because of any reserve grade, but we've got like Maddo, Cardi, all in reserve grade as well, doing things like surely it gets to a point where if we need to, we can play one of them and they can do a job. They've done it in the past. Surely it can't be as bad as what Joe or Lane was giving us throughout the start of this year. So I don't think it's that bad when you look at it and actually peel back a little bit. Yep, because we just signed Dylan Walker as well. He's come into the pack. I think it's not too bad at all. You can go this one. Moses makes a huge difference, but how do we close the gap when he's not playing? Are we a one-man club? Yes, we are.
At the moment, it seems like we are. The very simple answer is we just need – I don't think that their depth in the halves is the issue. I think that the biggest issue we have is that our forward pack seems to just choose when they want to aim up, and that seems to be when Moses is there. All we need to do, seriously, all we need to do to win games when he is not on the field is to lay a platform for these incredible players we have at the back, Ioane, Brown, and even Hawkins. We just need to have those forwards going forward, get the other team on the back foot. That's it. Simple as. The issue we have had since Moses wasn't here wasn't not having Moses here. It's not having our forwards do what they did on the weekend. That's that simple.
No, I agree. That's it, guys. That is all we have time for tonight on our Parra episode 3. Get ready to rip and tear. Hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're a business, you want to support the page or sponsor the page, please reach out. You can even just sponsor this podcast if you would like. You're a mad Parra fan. Fantastic to have you on board. Again, Magic Round, if you want to attend that Magic Round event, our first ever, it's going to be huge prizes to give away. Food will be there, and then there'll be a few drinks in that as well. Make sure you message the page. Keen to see you there. Good night, good day, whatever it is. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, everyone. Keep supporting the page. We are flying. Love it. Love the support. Go Parra. A bye week now, so we got the 2 points. It was a 4-point game, so that was a great win, great result. Hopefully, we talk to you next week when the boys are off the bottom of the ladder. Fingers crossed. Good night.